Welcome to the Industry Angel Podcast. We hear from the best business minds across the globe. Entrepreneurs, social influencers, marketing mavens, and sales rock stars. We've got them all. Here comes your weekly dose of inspiration with your host, Ian Farah.
Welcome to the May 2018 live edition of the Industry Angel. So thanks to Gren and Jen from the South Tyneside Business Invest team for hosting us here at 1 Trinity Green. Thanks for you guys as well for coming and supporting the show as well. I know you listen to the podcast and you download and you subscribe and you review, so thank you very much for that. And to all the watchers at home as well through YouTube, Facebook and Twitter, because Lee's worked very hard getting those set up 10 minutes before I told them we're going live, so well done, Lee. Right, okay, so feel free to take photographs. We are going to use the Industry Angel Live hashtag. So feel free to share the live streams as well if you're on Twitter. I've got my little running order here, which Jill doesn't know about. We're going to chat. We're going to chat for about half an hour, 45 minutes. And then, Jill, we're going to have a 1-minute lightning round quiz. Right? Now, did you manage to see last month's live podcast with Gary Fields where we did a live quiz?
I did.
Excellent.
Yeah, if he set the bar, I think we got 2 right.
Yeah,
so
right. So I've got a little
right
quiz here that your colleagues have kindly put together.
Okay.
So we'll be doing that. And then we'll take some Q&A from the floor as well. And we should get the show on the road. Okay?
Okay.
So today we have the Head of Skills and Training at Sunderland Software City. Welcome to the Industry Angel, Jill McKinney. So Jill, 5 months in the making. This is a rescheduled talk. The beast from the east got us last time.
I've got sandals on today instead of wellies, so better anyway.
So thanks for that. So should we start with Software City? What's its role in the region? Why is it there? What does it do? Is that okay? Absolutely.
I will start by saying that my chair's really close to the edge. So if anybody does capture me fall off and you send it in and you've been framed, it's halfies, just so you get that.
And it might be worth saying that Jill was a bit like when she was in bed with her hubby, pulling the duvet from left to right. She said, I had more stage than she did.
God put you in your place. Okay, so Sunderland Software City was established 10 years ago, so it's our 10th anniversary this year. Wow. I almost said 10th wedding anniversary this year. 10th anniversary this year, so it's quite exciting and we've got a lot of things planned. Sunderland Software City's remit really is to support the digital sector within the North East to grow and thrive. We traditionally work with SME digital businesses, anywhere from idea right the way through to fruition, and we've worked with some brilliant businesses that have come along to us for some support in the very early days, and they've gone on to be massively successful, and we're really proud that we've been able to support and really excited to be part of that journey. So we've got business support, which obviously, as it says on its tin, it's business support. And we do that in various different ways, but we quite often, well, all of the time, we listen to industry and we tailor our support to meet the demands of the industry. So we do masterclasses. So we've got a couple running at the minute around social media and how to use that to best maximise your sales or, increase footfall. Sales masterclasses, agile introductions, all of those things that businesses are looking for. We support marketing support. We give marketing support. We can help somebody put a marketing strategy together. We'll shout about everything that everybody's doing. So if anybody's doing something great, we'll support you with PR, and we've got a great team that'll help with that. And really, what we want to do is shout about everything that's going on and make sure that outside of the region, everybody realises how great we are as a cluster, as a sector. So yeah, that's in a nutshell. That's what we do.
So that's tech in the Northeast only?
Yeah. So we've got Sunderland Software City's remit is Northeast LEP area. But we also have the Digital Catapult, which is Northeast and Tees Valley. So that encompasses, obviously, as again, Northeast and Tees Valley. And that is around innovation and supporting innovation. So we work with generally larger corporate organisations, manufacturers, the likes of Nissan, for example, but also we've worked with financial organisations like Barclays, Northumbria Water, all of the above. And what we do with the Digital Catapult is find out what the business challenges are within the large corporates, and then bring in the SME community to solve those challenges, so that it becomes a more circular economy and everybody gets a chance to be involved in all of the great expansions that's going on in the North East and Tees Valley.
Excellent. So, where do you fit in, Jill? Head of skills, training
Good
as well?
Good question.
Yeah?
Yeah, it depends on which hat I'm wearing, but tonight
Okay.
is skills. So as head of skills, really what my remit is to understand what's going on in the sector and then feed that into education and then keep that cycle continuously moving. So make sure that education understand what the sector needs in terms of skills, but also make sure that industry understands what support the schools need, and colleges and universities to get that message in, to make sure that they're delivering the right subjects, information, messages to the kids in the schools as well.
So your role sees you going to schools as well and talking through what's happening?
Quite often found in a school,
Yeah.
School, college, university, any educational venue. Talking to the kids around all of the opportunities that we have within the North East, and actually find quite often that, there's not enough awareness, more often than I should, to be honest.
From the children's point of view?
Across the board. So I attend a lot of teachers' meetings as well, curriculum leads, careers guidance meetings as well, head teachers' meetings. And, every time there's a surprise about how big the sector is within the region, the household names that we've got here, people have no idea, which is a bit worrying. So that is part of my role, is to go out and showcase that and show people what we've got, all of the exciting things that are going on and how they can get involved and how to link their learning to industry.
Yeah.
We still get that. Teachers, I do have empathy with the teachers. They've got a massive job. A lot of them are overworked. They're working at home. They're marking books. They're going in early. All of the things they've got to do. And then now they've also got to, with the new careers guidance strategy, they've got to make sure that they link education with employment. The Gatsby benchmarks, they've got to make sure that they link education with employment. And so that's been thrown at them. And there's a huge agenda around STEM. But what I'm finding is that the teachers in the school haven't got the knowledge to be able to deliver that as well as they could. They're teaching subjects that they don't really know anything around. They find it hard to make those subjects inspiring, engage with the children, because they're not confident in their delivery. There's not... The Department for Education don't go, do this and there's some money to go with it. They just go, do this as well as everything else you've got to be doing. So when I'm in schools and in those meetings and having those conversations, what we're trying to find is a creative way to address that issue. Okay. Definitely don't blame the schools, because they've got their hands tied. They're all businesses now, so they've got to make decisions around where they best spend their money. And unfortunately, the best spend isn't around the STEM subjects that we need them to be teaching.
I can see the passion there, and I know you've been really frank there, which is great, and that's exactly what we need tonight, have a good discussion about it. When you were talking, I was thinking about my son Luke, who's 14, and he's going through his options now. What we're struggling with is he's trying to pick his options, so pick the actual subjects he wants to then go and do, but he has no idea what to do as a career because he hasn't done any work experience yet, which is next year. And I find that really difficult to sort of talk through to Luke and say, look, this is what I think you could be doing as a career. And does that come up at all, the work experience before choice?
100%. I mean, Who in the room knows what they want to do still? I still don't know. But yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? It's a chicken and egg.
Yeah.
I've got to make some decisions. My son's in the same situation. He's choosing his, and I'm trying to guide him. And he has no clue what he wants to do when he leaves school. And I think the only thing we can do in that situation is talk to them about the link between industry and education. And I mean, I'll put my hands up. My son is not interested in tech at all, and he openly says that, and that's absolutely fine. If he doesn't want to get involved, then that's fine. But interestingly, he has chosen media.
Okay.
He's really good at maths. No idea where he gets that from. Definitely not me. And he's very creative. So we sat and had a chat about it, and I said, you do realise that these are all the things that we need in the sector. And his perception is that to work in the sector, you've got to be a geek. Yeah? You all wear bobble hats, and you sit and you don't look up, and you don't make eye contact. And I'm just making sure no one's got a bobble hat on.
Just everybody's turning off the live streams now.
But it's absolutely not true, you know. Yeah. It's a massive, it's a very diverse sector. I must admit, so I've worked in the sector for a long time. And when I first went to do a training session within a tech business, I was full of dread. I thought, what is this going to be like? I'm not going to get any response. There'll be no eye contact. Nobody will engage. I couldn't have been more wrong. Everybody was...
From the children?
From children and adults. You know, they were really engaged and they wanted to learn. They had a thirst for knowledge. It was something that they didn't already know, or it was something that was going to enhance their skills. So, you know, the geek thing is a myth. It's a huge myth. Obviously, there's geeks, but the majority...
Just dig that hole.
Yeah, there are some. But the majority of, normal people...
It's always getting bigger, isn't it?
I know, it is. But this is, so his perception, and no doubt your son's perception will be, because you watch the telly programmes, don't you, as a South Park, or, you know, the Big Bang Theory and all the rest of it, where everybody's kind of, all the coders are sitting like this. It's not true. It's a really fun, creative, exciting environment to work in, and actually it's the fourth industrial revolution. We've got to embrace it. We've got to run with it. It's like, you know, it's like manufacturing was however many years ago. It's exciting. People can be part of a journey that's only just beginning. The technology is moving at such a fast pace. Who knows where we're going to be in 10, 20 years' time? And our kids are in a really fortunate position now that they can be part of that journey. They can, you know, they don't have to be a techie, they don't have to be geeky, but they could be involved in some way, particularly if they're creative and good at maths.
So what can we do about this? Because, you know, our children are fortunate that both parents have worked in tech, they get it. What about children whose parents aren't aware of tech? What can we do here in this room to educate the parents and the children on opportunities?
Absolutely. I think one of the key issues that we've got to address is the influencers.
Okay.
And that's parents and carers, teachers, anybody who has responsibility for children. We've got to find creative ways in which we engage with them. So I still get that from kids saying, my dad said that it's not a proper job. I can't go into gaming because there isn't any jobs. There's no point in doing IT because there's nothing in the northeast. You know, all of those messages are still getting fed into children's minds. So we've got to find creative ways of addressing that and dealing with that. One thing that we've recently started to do is produce a school's newsletter, and that is specifically targeted at parents. So that goes out once a quarter, and it's a massive shout out for the region. There's obviously some things that we're doing as Software City and Digital Catapult mentioned on there, but the bigger picture is around the region and what's going on. So generally, before we send it out, I'll go out on social media and I'll ask who we're sending this out. If you want to shout out, let us know. And we'll include your logo, a link to your business address, and a little bit about what you do, and just so that it's going home, it's bright, it's colourful, it's got Coda Dojo information on there and all the other tech meetups that kids might be interested in, but not just the kids, the parents as well. And it's been really great, and we've only just started that. So we've got some feedback that parents are starting to now ask when they go into parents' evening, is this an option? Can our children start to do this? Because we can now see that there is an option for them and an opportunity for them past school to get involved.
So thinking about, I was asked to go into a sixth form recently and talk to the sixth formers. about business and about tech and how it just seems too late.
It's sixth form.
Yeah, it just seems too late.
Yeah.
So you're doing some great stuff there, but is there anything else that's happening before that?
I think there's the Enterprise Advisory Network with the LEP. It's not STEM specific. It does cover every sector, obviously. But I think we need more people to sign up to that. I don't know how many people in the room are advisors, enterprise advisors. Yeah, I know there's a few. But I think we need to make more of an effort. To be honest, I think industry needs to step up to the plate. I think we need to, we're good at talking about it.
Okay.
I'm sure there's a few people in the room will agree that you've all been in meetings where we've discussed this issue time and time again, and we start to make a plan and then don't really get very far with it. But there are already things in motion. There's things that we can do that we can just, build on and enhance. So the enterprise advisory option is great. So you don't have to do anything other than go to a school and chat.
Yeah.
Talk about what you're doing. Give them some real life experience. Invite them along to your business if you can, if you've got the space. But make sure that when you're doing this, it has the child and the parent in mind, so that you're not tailoring it down so that it's child's play, building Lego, all the rest of it. Yeah, that's great. But I think you've also got to pitch at a level that makes it relevant to industry. So the parents, when we're looking at the skills gap, we're not just looking at kids. We're looking at this diversity issue as well. And we're looking at getting older people in, the over 50s, dare I say it, need to play a part in this. Women, female returners, people who've gone off on maternity leave and looking to come back. We need, when we're chatting, when we're in the schools, parents' evenings are a really great opportunity to do this. Talk to them about the opportunities generally, not just to the kids, but to everybody. We've got to cast the net wider, and we've got to make everybody aware. And that'll only serve a purpose, because if you're talking to parents, they're going to start talking to their kids. Do you know what I mean? If you're talking to the kids, they're going to start talking to their parents. So you've got to capture it in both directions, I think.
Do you think this is a good time to talk about the Go Reboot? Because here at South Tyneside, we sponsored the pilot of that, is that right?
Yes.
And how did that work? What was the outcomes of that then? Or do you want to tell us a little bit about it, actually?
I'll tell you a little bit about it. So Go Reboot was a bit of a idea that I had 3 years ago. And it was after having some working in with Software City and the wider sector, and just based on a few observations. One, the sector's really closed. If you don't work in the sector, you really struggle to find out about what's going on. Two, there is a huge amount of NEET people in the area, NEET and other unemployed people. And I just thought, we've got to do something about this. There's a big issue here where we can't fill a gap, but there's also a big issue here. So all these people who are sitting on the sidelines can't get in because they don't know how. They either don't know it's an option, or they do know it's an option, but they can't get access. So what can we do about it? And it's not rocket science. We basically run a 6-day programme, it's a boot camp, where we bring people in, NEET.
Do you want to tell us what NEET is?
Sorry, people who are not in education, employment or training.
Well done.
Thanks. And we take referrals from anywhere who works with anybody who's not, who kind of is in that NEET category. And basically all we do is showcase what's going on and how they can get involved. And the idea behind it is, one, to raise awareness, but two, to find the hidden gems. And through delivering the Go Reboot programme, for now this is its third year. We have worked with, don't ask us to back this up later on, but we've worked with around 450 people.
Wow. And
we've probably, of that, moved 120 of them on to something. So that might not sound like a lot of people, but it's not a silver bullet. We never promise anything to anybody when they come along, other than come and find out about an exciting sector. I never tell anybody I'm going to find you work, ever. Never promise that they're going to find their right opportunity. if they want to stay, that is entirely up to them. If they want to leave, that's entirely up to them. Never had anybody walk away, and we keep in touch with everybody who's attended the programme. We send them regular newsletters, updates. We send them news flashes of new opportunities that are coming along. It's just been really successful, and we're just trying to build on it now.
Excellent stuff. There was something you mentioned there about being very insular. I know one of the blogs you wrote, you said experience is key, therefore more needs to be done from an industry point of view to open up the sector, which at the moment is very insular and close to the outside world. Mm-hmm. What did you mean by that?
Just what I was saying before, unless you're in the sector, you don't hear about all the great things that's going on.
Okay.
Things like this, if you're not on social media and you don't follow the right people, how would you find out about this? You wouldn't, because all of the adverts, all of the promotions done around on social media. It's the same for the majority of the meetups that go on, the tech-specific events that go on, a lot of the training programs, a lot of the kids' coding clubs. It's all promoted on social media. Now, if you're not in that loop, how do you get access to that information? You don't, do you? You don't know what's going on. So that's what I mean by that. We've got to cast that net wider. We've got to look at who's on the outskirts. We've got people the hidden gems, people who you wouldn't ordinarily think would be interested, but actually they're sat in their bed coding in their bedrooms, hacking into God knows what. And I'd ask them not to tell us that when they come in, but they sometimes volunteer the information. Some very, very clever, switched-on people who, for one reason or another, have just not had the opportunity. We've got people in redundancy situations, people who've left school but just not had any guidance. Surprisingly, we get quite a few people with degrees, computer science degrees, that come along who've maybe not had the confidence, who've been knocked back maybe because they've not had the experience, or they've not stood up against somebody who has, or they've just not had the right information when they've graduated to move on. And then they get in a cycle. So they go and work at Sainsbury's, not that there's anything wrong with that, but they get used to getting some money in, and then that never happens. So the Go Reboot programme is a way to get them in, to start showcasing. But I think we need to do that on a bigger scale. We need to widen it.
You mentioned there, we touched upon digital exclusion of people who don't really listen to social media, and it's a crazy question and there's no answer to it, but what can we do then? Do you have anything you could tell us or share with us about programs that are trying to include people that mightn't be on social and in these places? How can we get to them?
Well, this is, funnily enough, I was at an event the other week and I'd never thought about this, but somebody said we should use the top of buses to advertise.
Okay.
Oh, it was ingenious, actually. It was really good. And I looked out of the building and there was 5 buses going past and I could have seen them. That's just, one example.
You're not in marketing, are you?
I'm not. Can you tell? Laura, our head of comms, will be going, what'd you say? I think...
I know it's a really general question.
But it is just being about sometimes old school.
Okay.
Carl Buckley, who's in the audience, and I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind me giving this example, but I met with Carl probably about 3 years ago. He's just giving everybody a wave. And we went to his office, me and a colleague, and he was talking about promoting and how to get the message out. And what he decided to do was go old school, and he was sending everybody a handwritten letter with a Kit Kat.
I never got one.
I did, and a mug. Sorry. Yeah. Still got it. I just thought it was brilliant. It was a really good example of just how to tailor it back a bit. Digital tech is amazing and it's really exciting. Social media is a brilliant way of getting messages out and engaging with people, but not everybody's on social media, or if they are, they're not following you, or they're not following...
Should be.
They should be following you.
Definitely.
But they don't know who to follow. Don't fall off your chair.
No,
that would be really unfortunate if you did that. Or they might not. I mean, if you're not in the sector, who would know about Software City, Sunderland Software City? People don't. I spend, the majority of my social time explaining what I do, explaining what Sunderland Software City is, explaining what Digital Uni is, explaining what, all these things that I just talk about as a given. my friends have no idea what that is. That's not a good thing to say because they should. But I mean, I've told my mum a million times what I do, and she still doesn't get it. So, but you know, she
watching?
She probably, well, she wouldn't know how to switch it on. I don't think. I'll play it back later.
Right, fine.
But yeah, so, you know, when we're talking about engaging with people, we've got to forget about all these, you know, the kids that are on social media and people who are in the sector who would know that it's a tool to get a message out and think creatively about it. Hence the newsletter. It's old school, but it's a paper copy. Some schools put it on their newsletters, on their online newsletters, and put it in their blogs. But most of them send it out as a paper copy as well. So we just need to tailor it back and go a bit old school, I think.
I just want to touch on something you mentioned about the skills gap. So we've got a skills gap in the region in this particular area, STEM. Are we looking outside of the region because of this gap then?
Yeah. So, you know, there's a few different things going on in terms of talent attraction. We spend, so although I said earlier on that Sunderland Software City is North East Leb area and Digital Catapult is North East and Tees Valley, we do work outside of the region as well. And one of the big remits outside of the region is to talent attract. So we work closely with Chamber of Commerce, we work closely with Invest North East and help them with their messaging, so that when they're out and about and they're speaking with Manchester, Leeds, Bradford, Sheffield, wherever, that they're passing on the message about the opportunity and you know, the fact that we've got a really good sector here and that you don't just move to the North East for a job, you move here for a career. So you might hear, you know, you might see advertised, I don't know, for want of better examples, and there are other well-known businesses, but we'll use Sage as an example. Sage is a very familiar household brand for most people. They would see that. They might see a job advert for Sage because they're looking for, you know, particular fintech or whatever. And that's great. But they might be talking to their families about upheaval from Manchester, for example, to move them here for a job at Sage, which is great, and you know, I'm sure that would be a really good option for them. But they get here, after convincing everybody to move, they can get here, work at Sage for a couple of months, realise they don't like it, or something else might happen. Where do they go next? And I think that's part of the bigger conversation, that actually there's another 800 plus businesses that you could go and work for, all of them established, all of them very exciting, all of them, you know, got some really good products. And I think that's one of the messages that we're trying to push out outside of the region, is that there is a whole career here, as well as the lifestyle. Obviously there's cheaper housing and transport links and all of the above. But I think it is about that. There is loads of opportunities here. You know, we've got an event on the 24th. This is a shameless plug.
Here you go.
We've got an event on the 24th of May called Tech Talent. This is our third year, and every year it's got bigger. You know, come along to that. Come and find out what's going on. We've got 50 plus exhibitors. It's at the Crown Plaza in Newcastle, 207. But it's a really good way to come and find out what's going on. You know, we've got some of the big businesses there, some of the, you know, the household brands, but we've also got quite a lot of the smaller organisations that are coming along as well, who need the staff as much as the bigger players. You know, arguably it's more important for them at the minute in terms of growth to get those skills through, but it's a really great way, you know, and we invite people from, you know, China, anywhere, to come along and see what we've got in the region. So Tech Talent's a really good opportunity for people to come along and everybody's together in one space.
So what I asked you there was, do we attract people to the region to get involved? What I wrote down there quickly was, does it go the other way? So are we losing people in this region to move down? For
the exact reasons that I just said there.
Okay.
So, you know, there's not enough awareness about what is going on in the region. And so, you know, people will graduate and they'll be looking before they graduate to see what their opportunities are outside of the region. And I'm not sure we're doing enough to capture that. I don't think we've got that catch net just right. And that is an education piece.
Who's we?
as a sector. I think the universities do a great job to get them to a point. But unless we're feeding in and telling them what's going on, obviously within the unis, they're still delivering to a curriculum. They've still got to hit certain benchmarks. You know, it's really difficult for them to think outside of that. So we as a region, as an industry, need to get on board with the education providers, universities, colleges, whatever, and make sure we plug those gaps. If you ask any lecturer if you can go along for one of their sessions for an hour, they'd welcome you with open arms. If you offered some time for their students to go and visit your offices and see what's going on, they'd take your hand off to do that kind of thing. We just need to collectively do it a bit more. Sorry, go on.
No, it's fine. I was just thinking, like, how, because you can only do so much, your organisation only do so much. How can everyone else get involved in that? That was kind of where I was thinking, but it's that, isn't it? It's just get involved.
It's just ask the question, do it. There's loads of support organisations, so I don't mention them because I'll probably miss somebody out, but there's us, obviously. Mm-hmm. You've got the guys at Invest Tyneside, mm-hmm. who are doing a great job as well in pushing the STEM agenda. You've got Digital Union. You've got the Tech for Life girls as well in Campus North. Loads of other ones that I'll mention later, but use us for information as well. Generally, we'll have a queue. I know I've got a queue of people waiting. We had a Digital Skills Summit last year, and we asked everybody at the end to pledge some hours to support education.
I remember that, yeah. And
we got 1,083 hours, which was amazing. And we've used quite a lot of them. We've used 500 plus of those hours. And that is literally me going out to industry when I get a knock on the door from a school or a college. Everybody who's signed up and saying, who can help? Who can do this? There's a parents' evening on at this time and the school wants some help. There's a careers event at this time. Can anybody go? The university's got a careers event on. Who's available? Who can go to a lecture? So, some businesses are giving back. I think we just need to do that on a bigger scale. And I think you use the support organisations to get the ball rolling, to get some introductions. Most of us have got links with all of the education providers, but actually there's nothing stopping anybody from doing that themselves, offering it up. I've got a couple of hours spare. Who wants it? It's as simple as that, really. Mm-hmm. Social media is a wonderful thing, isn't it? Put it on there and you'll be inundated.
Yeah. So do you think it's up to us then as organisations to have somebody who champions that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, and this was said earlier on in a different event that I was at, it's not just about the senior teams going along. Okay. It's around the people who students can engage with better, I think. So recent graduates, if you
no bobble hats then.
No, well, you could wear a bobble hat if you want. But recent graduates that they can really engage with fellow graduates or students who are about to graduate, and I was here with you a year or so ago, and I'm here now. Maybe people in junior level positions, interns, people who are on their level more so. It can be intimidating if you get a senior manager to go along, and particularly not necessarily in this sector, but in other areas, and sometimes in this sector where they're suited and booted. Puts people off instantly. Yeah. Talking at a level that using acronyms and assuming everybody knows what you're talking about is the wrong thing to do, because you completely disengage people. They don't ask the question. If you use an acronym, people are sitting there thinking, does anybody else know what that means? I used to work for a global IT company, and I needed a dictionary to understand what everybody said. First meeting I ever went into, and it was just like, what the hell? And I was only like 20 at the time, so I didn't have the confidence to say, I don't know what you mean. So I went away and I wrote a dictionary around all the acronyms, and then I passed that on to all the new hires after they came in after that. But we've got to stop making assumptions that everybody knows what we're talking about and break it down and make sure that people can engage with it and understand it.
So before we move on to this quiz, and have some fun with you, I really want to kind of summarise what you said there, because you're really passionate, and I know there's only so much time you've got. What other initiatives are coming around? What is it that you want to do going forward? Is there anything that's really burning that you want to get involved with? Or are you day-to-day in this position you're in now?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of things. So there's Digital Union's manifesto was launched a couple of weeks ago, and big talk around collaborative approach. All for that. We're all heading towards the same targets, but we need to be better at doing that together. We do events and it's brilliant. Today, I could have gone to 5 or 6 events, which is, I would want to have gone to all of them, but I couldn't. I think we need to be better at talking to each other. So I am working with a group of fabulous women at the minute. We haven't established a title of our group yet, but we intend to be the steering group for the sector and look at all of the different issues that we've got, one of them being skills, the other one being diversity, attracting more females into the sector, and a plethora of other things as well. So I'm quite excited about getting involved in that. It's just a bit of a discussion at the minute. We've got some plans. We're going to try and build it, and there will be a launch soon. So it's a little bit of a teaser as to what's to come. But I think the collaborative approach is the only way we can do it. I'm just one person in one organisation. There are other organisations that are playing a really good key part in the skills issue. We can only do it if we do it together. All our message going outside of the region, but more importantly, the message is staying in the region. We've got the skills, absolutely, without a doubt, we've got the skills. We've proved it through the Go Reboot programme. People have come to us with no qualifications, but have the skill, and we've managed to get them in work. We just need to be better at passing that message out and making sure that we don't lose them out of the region.
Yeah. I mean, you've mentioned there about the summit, the Go Reboot stuff. There's lots of good initiatives. It's really successful. It's just fighting the fight and just keeping it going.
Just keep making sure that we've got a clear message, regardless of who we're talking to, that it's a joined up approach and that we're not in competition with anybody else in the region. It's the worst thing that we can do. I couldn't care less if Catherine went out and attracted, 500 people to an event, so long as it's around, all of the things that we're doing in the region, and I did an event, I only got 10 people. It makes no difference, so long as it's not about who can do it better. It's not around ego or celebrityism. It's around, can we get a job done? Can we stop sitting in a room and talking about it? Can we just do something about it?
Excellent. That's a great message to leave us on then. Good stuff.
I'm nervous for this.
I would be.
I know my colleagues too well.
I have the answers in front of
Jenny Banks is watching.
Yes, Jenny, who's been really... Thanks, Jenny. Paul, my friend. So Paul's... Can I say you've got the horn? Paul has the horn. 60 seconds. Paul will re-horn after 60 seconds and we're off. Are you ready?
No, I'm nervous.
Okay, then.
Can I fall off my chair?
No? Ready when you are, Paul? What was written on your birthday card from your colleagues this year?
I can't remember. May a flock of seagulls shit on your parade.
Yep. When were you referred to as the help?
That was in Barcelona last year.
Have you ever been on the radio?
Lots of times.
How good are you at cartwheels?
Awesome.
Who's the worst cook in the office?
Oh, crikey. Probably Naomi, I would think.
Do you happen to have a favourite supermarket?
Yes, I am the Aldi super fan.
Do you like the smell of Indian food?
I like the taste of Indian food as well.
Out of your team, who would be most likely to show up to work drunk?
Billy Webber.
How does your husband look after your mother?
Trims our hedges.
If someone spent one day with you and your team, how would they describe it?
Describe the day?
Mm-hmm.
Mental.
Do you know what it is? Got to keep going. If you weren't doing what you're doing now, what would you be doing?
On a yacht with champagne, I think.
How did your last Christmas work party go, Jill?
I can't remember.
Okay. Out of your team, who would you want to be stuck on a desert island with and why?
Oh.
Pressure's on, the watching.
Well, I'm allowed to offend all of them because they left us out of a chat message. So Okay, person I'd be on a desert island with, and I can only choose one.
Yeah?
Can I choose two?
Go on.
Okay, two different reasons. Jenny Banks,
Okay.
because she's really funny and she'd just keep the whole camp entertained. And Billy, because he's very practical in a panic situation.
Right. So Jenny's actually took us a step further. Out of your colleagues, snog, marry, kill.
Oh my. What's this got to do with skills?
Snogging skills, marrying skills, killing skills.
Right, okay, I'll snog Naomi.
Oh.
Which is probably a bit wrong, actually, because
You've said it
she
now.
calls us mum. But
Okay,
anyway.
then. Marry. Are you gonna marry then?
Oh, God. And what's the last one?
I'm not
Kill.
telling you, marry. And kill. Kill's the last one. Just get it out there. It's burning.
I don't really.
Declare your love.
I don't know.
Who do you want to kill
Who would I
then?
marry? Who would I kill? Depends on what day it is.
There's too many of them.
There's too.
Should we let her off the hook with that one?
That's too hard.
We'll let you off the hook with that one. But at least you got the snog one out of the way. Right.
She's too tall for us anyway. I'm gonna never reach.
I'm not going to ask you the last one. How likely are you to keep things professional in the office?
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Every day.
Anything above never and she's lying. Right, thank you very much. Okay, I think we've got time for a few questions. Anybody would like to ask Jill a question? Yes, David.
Jill, just pick up on your comments around getting the right messaging out and make sure everybody's on the same page. What's your view in terms of, so as a region, because this is ultimately about the region, this is not about a particular borough, this is about upskilling the whole region, building talent, but more importantly, retaining talent so that we can get the inward investment we need, which is going to create the jobs for the future. But I've heard lots of people talk about the skills gap in the North East, and we tend to go round and round in circles, and we never get to a firm conclusion on this. And given that we've got the North East LEP, we've got the Tees Valley LEP, we've got all of the borough councils in competition with each other, you could say. We've got now a devolution deal where we've got local authorities who are going to go off and create their own strategy. And then we've got the combined authority. How on earth are we ever going to achieve one coherent voice for the region around the skills agenda when we have the region, people looking in from the outside of the region and seeing us as being so fragmented, and quite often we're all competing for the same agenda but in very different ways, and it's never really very joined up.
Jill, can I just jump in here for a second? Because the listeners at home would like to hear that. How can I repeat that question? So we've got lots of...
I was going to say, what was the question?
So we've got lots of big players around the region. It's quite fragmented. How can we all come together and have one voice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're right. It does look very disjointed, and it is very disjointed in some respects. So the Department for Education recently announced their desire to have digital skills partnerships, pilots in particular regions. Fortunate enough to be part of those discussions with the North East LEP and Tees Valley Combined Authority, who were explicitly asked to leave their politics at the door and to put in a combined bid for the Digital Skills Partnership. So we're currently in conversations about how that will work. But it was very strongly indicated that if we put in a joint bid, that we would be successful in terms of securing that for the region. So what the Digital Skills Partnership will be, nobody really knows, if I'm being honest. It doesn't really answer your question. But it will most certainly be a single point of contact for everybody within the region, all of the different local authorities, all the different clusters, all the different hubs, the two LEP areas, to pull together and have some kind of conduit that sits in the middle that will steer what goes on around the region. So that's one thing. The other thing is Sunderland Software City, Dynamo, Digital Union, and all of the 7 local authorities have just put in a bid for digital skills, which will mean that we can upskill the staff that we have already, the current workforce in the region. So kind of the approach we've taken is to split it down the middle and work with people who were already in the sector to help them future-proof themselves and learn how to use the new technologies that's coming forward, but also work with the traditionally non-tech businesses to upskill their workforce, to future-proof their workforce, and move what is known as the digital worker into the digital maker space. And that's what we intend to do with the digital skills. If we're successful, which I'm sure we will be. But that will be around retaining the skills that we have in the region as well.
Thanks, Jill. Time for 2 more? Yes, Natalie.
How young are the youngest pupils that you work with, and how young, ideally, would you like to work with?
I think the younger the better. So going into primary schools is key, because I think that's where we can start to inspire them at a young age. Yes. So I quite often go into primary schools, and it's really lovely, and it's quite fun, and go and chat with the kids, but the message is very serious. And that is, talking to the kids and in a child's play manner when you're chatting with the kids, but the message is for the teachers as well, so the teachers understand how to link their learning with the industry requirements. We've got a few different initiatives going on. So we have World of Work Week, where we engage with a lot of primary schools around the region. That's part of their curriculum, that they engage with employers, and that we quite often have them over at the software centre. And they just come and explore, and they get a chance to build and create, and they build robots, and they get a chance to play with all of the equipment that we've got at the centre, and all of the businesses that we have there, welcome them in to go and explore what they've got. The other thing that we've got is Work Discovery Week, where that actually isn't a week, it's a year. It started off being a week, but now it's a full year, where we engage with school children, and they come along generally to the centre, but we could do it in different locations. And we bring industry in, and it's like a marketplace event, and the kids get to wander around and ask questions, and it brings the sector to life for them. So the answer to your question is as young as possible. Yeah.
Excellent. Got one more? Yes, Jane.
So we talked a lot about what organisations are doing to fill the skills gap. What would be your advice to the individual businesses, so the business owners, as to what they can be doing within their business to help themselves to address the skill shortage? For example, we work with a lot of businesses across the board, and if I was to say, what's your workforce plan, what's your recruitment strategy, they'd look at me like I'm an alien. Is there any advice that you would give on that area? Because obviously you can't do everything, people also have to need to help themselves.
So, Jill, I'll just repeat that for the listeners. So, wow, Jane, what can we do in business to help yourself? Thank you. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think what I said before about just asking the question and, approaching schools and colleges and offering some time up, we're not saying this has to be a full day, it has to be a full week. An hour or two is great, and, schools are happy for you to go along and give an hour's talk. Pull together a newsletter and send it out, get involved in the work that we're doing. Open up your offices and bring people in. That works really well. That workplace and experience, I think, is more valuable, if I'm being honest, than somebody from industry going along and having a chat, which is great and it is valuable. But I think for the kids to come out and see what industry looks like, to me, I find that's the penny drop moment. So when we do the Go Reboot programme, we also have a work experience version of that as well. And that was derived out of demand. So we were getting a lot of demand for work experience, and it's a bit of a struggle, and I get it from both sides. From an SME, it's quite hard to give that time and investment. So we have a work experience week, and as part of that, we take them out on site visits, and we bring industry in and they chat with them. But I think the real penny drop moments are where they see it, and they walk into a business and they get a feel for it, and they see that everyone's normal, and they get to chat with people who are doing the job and ask them questions and really explore it. But, you know, their eyes widen when they walk in and they're like, wow, this is amazing. And you ask them, did you know it was going to be like this? I had no idea. I thought it was just going to be like an office or whatever. So, you know, open it up and offer it out.
Thanks, Jill. Okay, I think we'll let you off the hook there.
Have I waffled for too long?
No, do you know what it is?
That was a very polite way of saying, shut up.
No. Well, 2 minutes to 7, but thanks so much. That was really open, honest, frank. It's what we need. We need to carry this sort of thing on and keep it going. That was 5 months in the waiting, but it was really worth it. So, Jill, thanks so much.
Thanks for
Jill
having
McKinney. One last thank you to Jen and Gren from South Tyneside Business Invest team, and of course Lee, who again has played an absolute blinder under lots of pressure that I continually put him under. So thank you very much, Lee, and thanks to you guys for coming tonight. Really appreciate it.